there's no economic justice for the baby because the baby's dead, right?
I wouldn't refer, I don't really know how to answer your question. I would refer to
was the baby
fetus.
dead or alive?
We're referring to a fetus.
Okay, is the fetus dead or alive after an abortion?
The fetus would be dead after an abortion.
All right. If the mother is healthy and the baby is healthy, do you support abortion up to the moment of birth?
So I think that's a really hard question to answer because that just doesn't happen. You're asking me about something that simply doesn't happen.
Well, it's legal.
I will tell you
it's legal in Vermont, New Jersey, Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Alaska, and the District of Columbia, and the Loon wing of the Democratic Party supports abortion up to the moment of birth.
I will tell you as a person, I haven't personally had an abortion, and I will also tell you as a person looking at the evidence around me and understanding how complex the decisions are that people face.
Okay.
I'm just simply uncomfortable
I got to move on,
thinking that
Professor,
there's a
'cause I don't
simple
think
answer
you're
that
gonna
applies
answer
to
my
everyone.
question.
I trust women and their healthcare providers.
Yeah, it's real simple. You either support abortion for a healthy mother and baby up to the moment of birth, or you don't.
I think it was Senator Kennedy came to this hearing knowing that there was going to be a mother here who had to make the difficult decision to terminate a 20-week pregnancy, and he decided it was in his best interest to show a 21-week fetus, and his testimony was nothing but fear-mongering.
My name is Allie Phillips, and I live in Clarksville, Tennessee. My husband, Brian, works for a forklift company, and I run a small daycare out of our home. Together, we are raising Adelie, my 6-year-old daughter. We are not a wealthy family. We work hard to pay our bills on time each month. I spent the first several years of Adelie's life as a single mom, working 3 jobs while also finishing up my bachelor's degree. Brian, Adelie, and I were so excited to learn that I was pregnant in the fall of 2022, and even more thrilled to find out that we were having a little girl, Miley Rose. Everything was going perfectly until the day of my routine anatomy scan. At 19 weeks, when my doctor told us that they had found multiple concerning fetal issues. Several days later, as I waited to meet with the fetal specialist, I had no way of knowing that the next 10 minutes would change my life forever. The fetal specialist came in to go over the results, and that list was extensive. Miley's kidneys, bladder, and stomach were not functioning. Only 2 of the 4 chambers in her heart were not working. There was no amniotic fluid protecting her, and she had a rare brain condition. Her growth was a month behind, and she had no lung development. We were told that Miley was not compatible with life. Completely broken, I asked, "What do we do now?" The doctor suggested I had 2 options, that I could terminate the pregnancy, but due to Tennessee's ban on abortion, I would have to travel out of state for that health care. My second option would be to continue my pregnancy, but risk a miscarriage, a stillbirth, or giving birth for her to be put right into hospice care. And then the doctor warned that the longer I stayed pregnant, the worse Miley's condition would get and the more at risk my health would become. Knowing I had a daughter and a family to live for, we made the difficult decision to seek an abortion. So instead of grieving this devastating news, my mother and I began researching and calling clinics in states that allowed abortions after 20 weeks. Many did not have open appointments for weeks, and the longer I waited, the more extensive and expensive the procedure became. Ultimately, I found a clinic in New York City that could get me in the following week. Then, I had to book flights, find a hotel, arrange ground transportation, and childcare for Adelie. We had to quickly figure out how to afford all of it. We didn't have thousands of dollars sitting in our bank account. I had to start a GoFundMe effort online to help cover the unexpected medical and travel costs. Without the help of strangers on the internet, I would not have had the freedom to leave Tennessee or to make my own medical decisions, rights that my state denied me. Days later, I arrived at a New York City clinic alone. Due to security concerns, only patients are allowed in. I was there for several hours when a new ultrasound showed that Miley's heart was no longer beating.
Take your time.
Distraught, I called Brian, my husband, to tell him over the phone that our much-wanted daughter was already gone and that the abortion scheduled for the following day would be done immediately. I went into surgery alone, and I sat in recovery alone. I grieved her loss alone in a city I've never been in, far away from the comfort of my home, my family, and my friends. No one should be treated this way, not in Tennessee and not in the other 13 states that now criminalize abortion, the standard of care that I needed in my situation. 2 days later, I flew back home to Tennessee. I had to go back to my life like nothing ever happened. I've never felt as small and inconsequential or unsupported as I did then. I was so depressed that I couldn't go to work for another week after we got back, and altogether, Brian and I lost 3 weeks of pay, which is rough for a family that lives paycheck to paycheck. My parents had to help us pay our bills the following month so we didn't lose our home. We want to have another child, but we're terrified because Tennessee still bans abortion and criminalizes doctors for providing essential health care for pregnant patients. Thank you for letting me honor Miley's memory by sharing our story today. Millions of people live under these laws just like Tennessee's, and I know that I was lucky to get the care I needed, but no one should have to rely on luck to get essential health care. We must have a federal right to access the health care we need, no matter where we live or how much we earn. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Phillips.
Professor Myers, you are here at the invitation of my Democratic colleagues, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. In his opening statement, my good friend Senator Whitehouse said, I want to quote, reproductive justice is economic justice, close quote. Do you agree with that?
I might, as an economist, use the word rights, but yeah, I do agree with that.
Okay. That's not true for the baby, is it?
Well, first of all, I would refer to a fetus, not
Yeah,
a baby.
but that's, well, a fetus. I refer to it as a baby. That's not true for the baby, is it?
The evidence that I presented to you, Senator Kennedy, was evidence about measurable effects on the lives of women, families,
Right. I
and
got
children
that
who were
part, but that's
born.
not true for the baby, is it?
I'm sorry, I don't really understand.
Well, it's
the
not
question.
true. Let me be clear.
Let me
I'm
back
sorry.
up. As an economist, I measure effects using data. I'm not here to talk about ethics, assignment of
Right.
personhood. That's not my
Well, but you
role.
said you agreed with the chairman's statement that reproductive justice is economic justice. There is no economic justice for the baby because the baby's dead, right?
I wouldn't refer. I don't really know how to answer your question. I would refer to
was
a
the baby
fetus.
dead or alive?
We're referring to a fetus.
Let's take a baby at 21 weeks. Hold up, Mike. This is a baby at 21 weeks, okay? The baby can feel pain, right?
Yes.
And the baby's pretty developed, right?
Yes.
And do you know the name of the procedure that the doctor would use to abort that baby at 21 weeks?
I'm not a doctor, but I believe it's a DNR.
It's called dilation and evacuation. Is that right?
As far as I understand, yes.
Yeah. And first, the doctor would dilate the cervix, and then the doctor would take what's called the doctor would call it a Sofer clamp. It's really a pair of pliers with sharp teeth on the end. And without giving the baby any pain medication, the doctor would go through the vagina, through the uterus, and start tearing the baby apart. Is that right?
As far as I understand the procedure.
Yeah, and she might start with the legs and pull them out, and the arms and pull them out, right? And then she might go for the heart or the spine and just pull the baby out piece by piece. Is that right? Without giving the baby pain medication.
That's what I understand the procedure to be.
Okay, but then you got to get the head out. The baby's dead, but maybe not. Maybe it's still in pain, but then you got to get the head out. And even with the cervix dilated, you got to get the head out, which is hard. So then the doctor would go in and use those pliers to crush the baby's head. Is that right?
As far as I understand.
And then she'd pull the head out, the crushed skull out, right?
Senator Kennedy, your time has expired here.
Well, you
and
gave
Senator
the
Stabenow is
others
waiting.
plenty of time, Mr. Chairman.
Just letting you know, your time's expired. You have
Okay.
other senators waiting.
Well, I was waiting when you were letting others. I'm sorry you don't want to hear about what happens.
No, I don't think anybody
in
else
an
is
actual
going- I don't think
abortion,
anybody
but
else
I
is going
thought that
over.
was what we were here to talk about.
No one else has gone over. Some of the witnesses went a little bit long, but on both sides. So
I thought we were here
trying to
about
control that.
protecting mothers and killing babies.
I'm going to turn to Senator Stabenow and Mr.
I'm sorry
Phillips.
you don't
I'm
want
sorry
to hear
that this had to
Like
take
we've
place
got
in
a
front of
whole
you.
roster here.
My apologies.
I know it's ugly, but it's
Thank
the
you,
truth,
Mr. Chairman. Mrs. Phillips, I'm so sorry you just had to hear that, particularly as you're talking about the 1 year of anniversary of what you had to go through. It was shameful, and I'm very, very sorry. No one here should be judging you or any other woman who has to make decisions based on their life and what's happening in their pregnancy. And so, thank you so much for being here.
So now you've experienced a Senate hearing, lots of things have been said, and so I just want to give you the opportunity as we close. I may be the last senator to ask questions. After you've heard everything here today, is there anything that you would like to say in response and make sure that we can correct any misperceptions that some people have expressed?
Yes, and thank you so much, Senator, for giving me this opportunity. I will start by saying that I made a promise to Miley that her name would not die with her. So that is part of why my activism is so important to me, is so people know who she is. I want to make two statements before I go into my final thing that I would like the committee to know. I think it was Senator Kennedy came to this hearing knowing that there was going to be a mother here who had to make the difficult decision to terminate a 20-week pregnancy, and he decided it was in his best interest to show a 21-week fetus. And his testimony was nothing but fear-mongering. From my experience, that was not my experience, what he was trying to persuade. Also, Mrs. Call, to answer your question to what he had asked, my procedure was an abortion. It is on my medical paperwork that I had an abortion, even though my daughter was deceased. It's not back and forth. An abortion is a medical procedure, whether that fetus is deceased or not. But I would like to ask the committee to remember my story and to remember that I'm one of thousands, if not millions, of people in this country that need or needed abortion access, and to remember that it's not black and white and one size does not fit all. We can't be putting politics into healthcare decisions, and also to remember these facts, that abortion access is essential healthcare, no matter how you want to look at it. It's essential healthcare for so many. And exceptions don't work. I'm a living testimony to that. Tennessee had a very vague exception to protect the life of the mother. My life was at risk, and I did not qualify. I would ask the committee to consider passing a law that allows access without exception, just all across the board. Because when someone needs health care, they should be able to receive that health care when they need it.